All right, we're getting ready to start our silver bullet trade in the PM session. That's 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock Eastern time, New York City time. That's the silver bullet trade time zone. And the silver bullet is designed for us to know which way liquidity is going to go and take a trade in that direction during this set period of time. All right, if you don't know about the silver bullet, it's got 3 time periods a day where it's ideal to trade. I don't do the 3 a.m. session because I'm asleep, but we do the morning session, which is 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. We did that today by shorting because we thought the objective was reached when it hit the high point here. It hit the high of this point here, and then it started to come down. I said, okay, we hit the high point. Let's short. And so during the silver bullet moment, we shorted to the downside. But now that it's down so far on the daily chart there, as you can see, we have to go to the hourly chart and try to look for objectives. Where do we think it might go? So really, we only have 2 options, up or down, and it already went up over the top of a predetermined objective, and it just created this low here. It swept everything on this side and swept the highs on this side, and now it's in the middle. That's the trickiest time to try to figure out which way it's going to go. If I don't know which direction it's going to go, this is the 15-minute chart here. So now you see the liquidity on the bottom. We have some liquidity here that it's been newly generated liquidity to the top as well. So as you can see, the liquidity that's been generated all throughout this time period here is high here and bottom here. And we don't know which way it's going to go. If somebody says, I know for sure exactly which way it's going to sweep first, I think they're pulling your leg. I really do. And a lot of times we may be right on the overall objective and still be wrong on the immediate sweep. What's going to happen immediately versus what's going to happen eventually. Eventually, one of these 2 sides are going to be taken, the high here and the low here, right? Eventually, one of these 2 sides are going to be taken, either this high here or the low that was created right down here, eventually. As we enter into the silver bullet moment, I have no idea which way it's going to go first. So I guess I'll have to be extra cautious in this case, because if there was a clear direction like there was earlier this morning, and see, I thought it was going to sweep this pivot, and it did. And now that it's already swept this pivot right here, now that that's been accomplished, I don't know what this silver bullet hour has in store for us. So it's starting right now, 2 p.m. Here's the 5-minute candles on the 2 p.m. session. We're looking for ICT entries, let's see, order blocks, and it's starting right now. So we may see some, it's going to take a second here. We may see some order blocks or some fair value gaps to take a trade in. And it looks like there was a fair value gap created here that's been tested already. And it hasn't really gone anywhere. It's possible we could try to short that down if we think it's going to go down, right? If we think it's going to go down. Looks like this was already swept right here. So it may just simply be going up first. So what it's doing is it's creating lower and lower buy sides. So here's one here, right? And here's one here. And here's one here. This low resistance liquidity is being created little by little. And we have, a piece right here. Which way will it go? I don't really know. I'm trying to learn that. So if we go down to, this is the minute chart right here. And so it looks like it's going, at least going to sweep, possibly sweep, or continue in this pattern where it's just zigzagging back and forth this way. But the fair value gap right here, from the 1-minute chart, where it tested it right here. Now that was before the bullet zone, and we're in the bullet zone now inside this gray area. And here's another, oftentimes in the silver bullet, it'll just move nice and quickly. Sometimes it'll just consolidate because it's already reached its target. If it hasn't reached its target, sometimes it'll go nice and quickly to its target, wherever it's going here. It looks like it's trending down right here. 5 minute is sideways though. And here's the 30-second chart for today. It's definitely possible. Oh, it looks like it wants to go down. And, while I'm talking, I might be missing some trade opportunities. I really kind of wished I had taken that, but I just didn't have enough time to make up my mind before, it bolted straight down right here. I mean, I saw that pre-bullet hour test, and then when it came up right here, it was in the box. It certainly was in the box. And I guess I was slow to the party. Here's where I could have entered right here. I could have taken that trade right there and put my stop right above, that last pivot area. So I'm just going to put this as a missed short and call it what it is. And that may be the only trade I get in this session. All right, it may be. We'll keep an eye on the development of this green candle here. But if that's the high of it, there's another fair value gap area. But if the target, and it could just be creating a higher and higher level of sell side liquidity as it's creating lower and lower and lower buy side liquidity. And sometimes you'll get that diminishing, narrowing kind of range before it does explode to one side or the other. All right, let's keep marking the top side and the bottom side. Okay, so now it's got this. Okay. Yeah, did it come up and test that? Yeah, it did. It did. It barely peeked inside. And I'm still learning this all myself, trying to build a lot of confidence to take the trades. And the more I watch it, observe it, backtest it, and study it, the more confident I get on this particular trade during this particular time period. It's 2 times a day for me, Eastern New York City time, 10 and 2 p.m., 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. This is the 2 p.m. session, and I am interested to just study and watch what this is going to do, because I don't know. It's very interesting. So let me pause it, let some time go by, and we'll come back. Yeah, as soon as I pause it, it comes right up into the fair value gap. And this is just, I need to be confident to pull the trigger. I'm going to study this and say, what if I actually entered in right here? It was halfway through that fair value gap right there. See this fair value gap right here? It came up halfway through. I could hit that sell, put my stop right above there, and then start to come down into break even. I'd probably be on break even right now, knowing my trading style. I would have put my stop probably right here. And as price goes to 1-to-1, I would have moved my stop to break even. So I'd be sitting on break even right now at a risk-free trade. Interesting. I shouldn't have been afraid. I mean, even if I can break even, I'm pretty happy about that, because there I would have broke even on that trade. My stop would have been here originally. And it did go down, It went down past 1-to-1 reward on that. And it could still be a time to enter. It's right in that zone right there, right? It's right in the zone. Now it's going up past it, and now it's violating it. It's too far up now. But it hasn't gone into this fair value gap up here yet. Okay, so let's see if I can take a trade on this thing. Let's see how this works.
Order filled.
Okay, I got an order, and I got my stop.
Order submitted.
Buy stop here. Let's just keep an eye on this. And then remember, I don't know which way it's really going. I really don't. I don't know if it's going to go up or go down. And in a case where I'm just ambivalent, okay, it stopped me out. Let's go on a higher time chart and see what else we got here. Yeah, it's creating sell side liquidity here. Buy side up here. And that is just one monster ugly pullback right there. It definitely violated the fair value gaps. And if there's any order block stuff that I need to learn, I don't see any order block stuff that it's respecting either. So, and I guess if it comes up to this fair value gap up here, could be where it's on this descending trend line down this way. And wouldn't you know it, this descending trend line down is exactly where it decided to go down after stopping me out. So that's okay though. I am not dismayed one bit on this. I'm not. See, it stopped me out right here. And this is actually is that the 1 minute chart? Yeah. It's got a sweep side right here. It may just, like I said, continue to create higher and higher and higher sell side liquidity as it's creating lower and lower and lower buy side liquidity, zigzagging back and forth here. But let's see. I took the trade in a good area. I really believe this is the area right here. My computer just died, so I had to restart everything. I took it even lower than where I was supposed to. It just went up beyond, and I can't help it when it does that. It's just not something you can really. You have your trade setups, you have your criteria. When it's met, you pull the trigger, and there's no fair value gaps in the 5 minute chart. And it does look like it wants to go down here on the hourly chart. 15 minute chart shows a breakdown. It looks like it wants to go to that pivot down there. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to sell that thing. But it's really, really choppy right now. Here's another area where a fair value gap was created. And it's testing that area. And, it is trending down nicely. I just wish it didn't pop up so high right here. Somehow I guess you cannot avoid having losses. And this is an area where I feel like I should take that trade right there. Or at least, when that wick was developing up there, as soon as it was developing, I could have took the trade right here as that red candles. That candle's coming up into creating a double top, and you short immediately, and you use the top of the box as your stop loss. That's the thinking behind it. Okay, so if I did do that, my stop would be right there, my entry would be right here. I'm just trying to see if I would have made anything or broke even on it. Yeah, 1-to-1 was reached. So that's my thinking. This is where it didn't actually violate, at least yet. This is how I wanted this trade to be. I wanted this trade to stay inside the box. And that would have been a beautiful trade. Okay, here is the idea that I like to see. Coming into the box, getting in as high as you can towards the middle of the box. The top of the box is a stop loss. And as soon as you get to 1-to-1, you break even. And if it keeps going, great. If it breaks even, you try it, and that's part of the plan. That's part of my process. So it's too low now. It's already past 1-to-1 reward. So I can't enter that trade. So, even if I don't take a trade, even if I got stopped out, that's irrelevant. What's relevant is the learning, observing, practicing, theorizing, anticipating, and internalizing, laminating all these price action structures and repetition into a confidence that I can take in the future. So that's really the bottom line. The winning and the losing is not as important as developing the trading temperance and skill development right now. So let's pause it and see if there's anything else that shows up on this session or not. Here's another impeccably perfect timing trade. If I was to take it, it came to the top of the box, and you enter short immediately, and you put your stop just a couple of ticks away. The objective of that is to keep your stop incredibly small, and if it does pull back, which it did, you could slide your stop loss down into profitability. It's a small scalp, but it's kind of the quick action trade, fast scalping trade technique based on the ICT fair value gap, based on the silver bullet time zone and the bias to go short. I can tell this price action is real choppy because even this entry right here, it didn't go very far down. I mean, it only went down to 1-to-1, and then it just chopped back up. So, all right, let's pause and wait and watch. Watch and wait. Okay, I'm trying again.
Stop
And I
failed.
was stopped out, but that was just a tiny little, I guess I did get in a little late on that. Trying to figure out if this is some type of resistance right here because the pintails were put in this area. This is looks like an order block reversal area. It still might be a good area. Just getting in
Order filled.
and putting your stop at the right place. I still think it's going to go down here. All right, this is the last attempt, guys. I'm not going to overtrade and revenge trade here. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm looking for it to come down to this. This will be the last trade. My reasoning is the short bias still in the silver bullet time period. Looks like it's resisting this area here where the fair value gap was and where this order block had been reversed. And it's tough. It can't pop its way back up through there. So hopefully it will come down here before it goes up. If it fails and stops me out, then I'll just have to accept that my theory was wrong and keep practicing and observing in the future. And that's all there is to it. All right, so let's wait and see what happens here. Okay, I moved it to break even. Hopefully it'll keep going down though. That's the thing. I don't want it to come up and stop me out before going down. It's so choppy right now. Hopefully it'll just bust right down through there and keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't stop me out, please. Oh gosh.
Stop failed.
It stopped me out. I basically broke even on that trade. And the problem is it's probably definitely going to go down this area. We'll see if I'm right or not. It's certainly trying. And if it goes down in that direction, I'll be very happy, even though I was stopped out, because the point is, I want to know if my thinking is right about this area being resistance turning into, from support turning into resistance, and if it will at least make that next target before going up. And boy, it's tough to wait and see. All right, it hit the target. It hit the target that I was thinking. I'm very excited about that because that means I'm onto something. That means I'm kind of thinking how I'm supposed to be thinking. Of course, I made some mistakes with my entries, and I made some mistakes with my timing, and I made some mistakes with my stop losses, and I'm okay with that because I'm still learning. This is a demo account, but what's important is, am I actually starting to understand the price bias, the direction, the drawn liquidity, support and resistance, fair value gap areas to enter, how they sometimes work but violate, and just the price action, the temperance, the behavior, personality of these kinds of things during the time period of the silver bullet. All right, so we have a little bit of time left in the silver bullet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here because I've already probably taken as many losses as I want. But I'm going to keep recording this and observing this until the end, and I will let you know how it finishes. Okay, it's entering a fair value gap again, and there's still more liquidity to go. Here's a pivot, and here's a pivot way down here. It's been going down to the pivots that we think. Let's take a look at where it's currently at, and it's inside a fair value gap again, right here, as you can see. And the wick wicked up to the 8 EMA and then started to, this would have been another pinpoint trade entrance. The theory on that trade is to just jump in when it gets to the top of the box and keep your stop loss a couple of ticks higher. And if it only goes to the top of the box, you're in the trade with a narrow miss stop loss, and you can just trail your stop to break even immediately, and then candle by candle work your profits in like this and stop out somewhere near the next target, or if it whips up, it'll get you for a profit at least. I like that trade. And the reason why I like it is because the stop loss is very, very tight. It comes up to the fair value gap on a descending bias, and it limits your loss and maximizes your profitability. So I would still classify this kind of trade as a fair value gap trade, but the entry is very precise and pinpoint to the tick, really, because that's what you're hoping for. That it comes right as high as it can come, and you enter that trade with a couple of tick stop loss if it goes violates it. Like here, this would have hurt. I'll show you up here on this wick, these two wicks here. If you can see that, let's zoom in a little bit better here, because this is a perfect example. When the first candle came up to the top of the box, I would have had my stop loss here, and I would have followed it down until I had some profit on it. The very next candle, however, if I didn't follow it at least into the break-even point, the following candle would come up and wicked right to the top, and it would have stopped me out for that 2-tick loss. A very small loss, but it would have lost nevertheless. That's why I like to slide my stop loss down as it's going. Okay, so here's another example of that taking place. Let's say we entered in on this first candle right here, and we say, okay, we'll put our stop loss at the top of the box. Let's go ahead and just work it out here. Top of the box, stop loss at the top of the box, and it gets us in, and then we start to slide our stop loss down as price is going down, and it probably would have stopped us out either at break even or just a small profit. The second candle, we could have done the same thing. It came up a little bit higher, and if we didn't slide it down, we would have stopped out on the next candle. But the third candle is where this red candle, where it came up, it snapped up past that box just a little bit. And in the case where it barely ticks through it, I'm interested in still trying it out, like right here. Right here would be a good try, because it's right back up into that area, the same area that it couldn't go down, except it's already dropping. Let's see what happens on this next candle here. And see, it's already hit the target down here. This line was our next target for, yeah, see, it's already hit that. So, and probably going to pull back before it comes down further to get to the next target, right? So we're thinking if it does go down to the next target, you're probably going to get some kind of pullback here, and it may come all the way up to this level. It may be done going down. It may be done going down for the silver bullet. We still got some time left, but that may be all it gives us on this particular silver bullet moment. You know, because it's got a long ways to go down here. If it was going to go shoot straight down there, that would be an amazing thing to watch, actually. So we don't know what it's going to do. But there's the pullback, the rebalancing of price. It sure did swing up and violate the fair value gap, and looks like it tested that order block right here. All this right here. Now, if it can get up through this right here, I would guess that we're not going to go down anytime soon to the lower bottom. That's for another time. The bottom over here, it's probably going to take out some topside liquidity next before it goes down. There's plenty of topside liquidity that it's created on the way down here. We've got this level here. We've got this level here. This thing can go. All this is light resistance, right? It's very light resistance. Came down real nice and smooth. And who knows? It could go all the way back up here, or just create another mid-range level of generated buy-side liquidity anywhere in this area. I mean, anywhere it can come up. So 50% of this range down, though, is kind of what we're looking at here. Let's take a look. 50% from the top to the bottom, you know, and if it's only going to go 50, 60, 70, you know, it's going to go back up into a discount area if it's going to keep going down. If it's not done going down, then it's got to pull back some, it looks like. This has been a pretty big move down here. Yeah, see, when it moves so far, it pulls back. When it moves, it pulls back. And so even on this big move right here, big old move, it pulled back way back into the deep 60% pullback, right? So we'll see what it's going to do here. We still got some time left. I'll let you know how it's going. Okay, I just saw this fair value gap right here that was created when it stopped me out right here and then slammed down on the way down. It created this fair value gap right here in this box right here. And so that's also right where the 50% pullback is. So it's an interesting area. Let's type 50% there, and let's type fair value gap, and all that's sitting right here in this area waiting. I don't know if it's going to go down up that high, because here's the last area of resistance. And this would be an interesting area to try to short this, actually. And right on the 50 EMA, there you got your pintails. Oh, I really want to master that trade. Stop loss would have been right above that. Entry would have been as it's turning red. As it's turning red, and as we get 1-to-1 on it, as we get 1-to-1 or more on it, we take our stop loss and slide it down to break even. Take the stop loss, slide it down to break even. I'd be break even on that right now. It's just by simply observing well, a lot of different things are making that decision. You got Fibonacci of 38% pullback. You got the 50 EMA moving average. You got these old pintails and support area. This whole area right here was serving as resistance. And even, like I said, okay, well, let's say I'd be break even right now, or I could have slid it down more and more and more and caught some profit on that. You don't always have to just simply break even on those. You could just let it go as far as it goes and let it get you some profit. So that's interesting. I just want to keep recording and keep observing all the different nuances and potential ideas in the Silver Bullet PM session. All right, I just did it, and it stopped me out for break even on this candle right here. I said, you know what, let me give it a try. I wish I would have recorded it for you, but it happened so quick. You can see the blue dots in there equal where I got in and where I got out at the same price. It's like right now, oh, it would have stopped me out if I did it again, though. And now it's going up to this level here. Now it's going up over the top of that level there. So it could just simply be sweeping that area and continuing to go down, because sometimes when it hits a certain objective to the downside, it's looking for a top target. It goes back and forth. Sweeping internal liquidity is really what it does most before it hits a long-term daily or weekly objective. There's a lot of internal sweeping up and down on both sides before it gets to that long-term target. So we're hitting a lot of temporary and short-term inside liquidity targets. It'll go down a little bit, go up a little bit. It'll hit targets to the downside, hit target to the upside. And in the big picture, eventually we see, okay, well, on the daily chart, it already hit the top target here. And we don't know. The only other bottom, is way down here. And if it's going to keep going up, there's a lot of internal back and forth chopping it can do, creating all kinds of buy side and sell side liquidity. Okay, here it comes up to that 50% Fibonacci, and it just tapped that box right there. Just tapped it, right? You see how it just tapped it? So if I was going to try to do a quick scalp on that, we could scalp that area right there, tapped in, it tapped in, and then follow it down with the stop loss until we get stopped out for either break even or some profit, 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 reward risk. You see? So what I got to do is I got to be more on guard and ready to take that trade. There's all kinds of little opportunities for that particular quick scalp trade, but you got to be quick, you got to be precise, you got to hit the timing right on the button. You can't do it late. In fact, the enemy of this kind of trade is late entry. If this is not entered at the right time, it will fail 90% of the time. If it is entered at the right specific precise time, I would say that it's probably 80-90% accurate. Timing is everything with this kind of scalping, though. All right, let's pause and see what happens. All right, this is how the day has come to an end. I almost scalped up this way. It looks like if I did, it would have been a narrow miss. I might have broke even on it because it came right down and whipped before going up here to whip. And that's how price acts. It'll break a level just to go break a level, right? And that's what we got to get used to. We got to understand that it does that at any moment. It can do that, right? It goes sideways for a reason. It goes sideways to build sell side liquidity and buy side liquidity. That's the only reason it goes sideways, to accumulate, right? Buyers and sellers on both sides. Okay, now we're at the end of our silver bullet time. There's be no more trades for this. I learned a lot today. Very grateful, and we'll see you on the next silver bullet session.